Hi, my name is Drayton Michaels. I'm a dog trainer and behavior technician, and this video is about scent as part of the Leash Walking Less Stress, More Success series. The majority of information on olfactory and scent for this video was derived from Lindsay's Volume 1 Applied Dog Behavior and Training, Adaptation and Learning, along with any subsequent references contained in that section in the Lindsay book on the olfactory system. Any other references will be cited along the way or at the end of the video. Scent is the #1 way dogs are associating and orienting to the environment. There is no way to exclude scents or the dog's amazing ability to detect scents in any aspect of our relationship with dogs. We must always take into account that the dog will be detecting scents and determining how they relate to their environment, and most times we will not be able to detect the scents they do. Be sensitive to this, and you'll really start to be on your dog's team. The context of leash walking is without a doubt the most challenging when it comes to our relationship with dogs and their scent detection and scent desires. This is due to a series of biological processes that factor heavily, as well as the dog being contained on leash and unable to fully act on their flight response. The main issues that humans face during leash walking are the following: pulling, reactivity, distracted dogs that are slow to respond to cues. The main issues that dogs find challenging when leash walking are the following. Number 1, being contained and unable to move freely and adjust distances according to safe-unsafe responses triggered by scents and the amygdala. This leads to pulling, stress, and sometimes the dog just shuts down. Number 2, not being allowed or able to follow a desired scent or series of scents in general to make determinations about the environment. This leads to potential stress associated with leash context due to interruptions in scent gathering. Number 3, undue negative associations made due to using improper leash corrections, pain-based equipment, and/or flooding of fearful or frustrating stimuli in the environment. Number 4, poor generalization of new environments and new contexts. Thus, many dogs are overly distracted and slow to respond, or do not disengage readily when the handler gives a cue. This leads many handlers to resort to harsh, startle approaches, which will only serve to cause further stress for both the dog and the human. Scent contributes to these challenges by way of the dog's natural need and desire to detect scents for elimination, safety of all environments, interest in other dogs socially and sexually, as well as tracking prey. This leads to dogs wanting to go in many directions or specific directions, and this is frustrating for many people when walking dogs. One or all of these scent priorities may be occurring on a dog walk at any time in any environment, even simultaneously. Be empathetic to this and adjust with gentle guidance. When the human handler is working, walking, or even holding the dog on a leash, they must be sensitive to the 250 million scent receptors that are taking in scents non-stop for the dog to feel safe, as well as to learn about what is happening and what has happened in the environment and what may happen next. Many of the behaviors the dog exhibits when inundated with scent and other stimuli while outside are reflexive and compulsive. Humans should stay flexible and ready to train or manage. Humans would serve themselves, and especially the dog, very well by becoming aware of this crucial, non-stop scent detection aspect and addressing it with understanding, empathy, and patience, thus reducing stress for all involved. Think of it this way. Scent is to dogs what eyesight and hearing are to humans. We need our eyesight and our hearing to feel secure about the world and learn about our environments. Dogs use scents they detect and process to establish how they feel about environments. By making sure we are sensitive to this, we can work towards the least amount of stress possible associated to the experience of the dog being on leash. Dogs use scents to determine any significant chemical changes or disturbances in the environment. This is why dogs are so amazing at rooting out prey, bugs, cancer, bombs, or finding people. When scent is taken into the dog's nostrils, it goes into the brain and enters areas for processing associative identification and interpretation. This is also where the part of the brain called the amygdala plays its vital role in the regulation of fear and stress. The amygdala's receptors are connected directly to the dog's nose, and all information the dog takes in passes through a stress test of sorts, and the dog determines if they are safe, unsafe, or on neutral ground. Obviously, there will be things that appear fearful to the dog when in fact they are safe and things are not actually scary. We will discuss padding by way of rewards and creating distance in future videos. Each olfactory neuron expresses a receptor specialized for the detection of a specific odor molecule. Dogs are said to be able to detect millions of distinct scents. They are cataloging these scents and determining how they feel about them through associations they make or we shape for them through proper training and proper leash handling. Butyric acid is a component of human sweat that smells like dirty socks. Perhaps this is one of the reasons that dogs like to smell shoes, kiss feet, and steal socks so much. It has been theorized that dogs can detect the scent of 1 milligram of butyric acid in 100 million cubic meters of air. Research by Pearsall and Verberger determined that if 1 grain of butyric acid were dropped off a 10-story building, humans could only detect it at the moment of release, whereas a dog could smell the same amount over the entire city of Philadelphia, even up to the altitude of 300 feet. It's very interesting to note that the human foot has sweat glands only. Over the period of 24 hours, 800 cc's of the sweat the human produces, the foot releases roughly 2% of the daily amount. Not a whole lot, however, if only 1/1000th of this penetrates through the sole of a shoe, it is still enough to be detected by the dog. This is significant as one of the causes to consider for dogs pulling and sniffing the ground with so much intensity is the smell of butyric acid on the ground. It is also significant as it is something dogs are naturally drawn to, so it makes a big distraction as well as an easy redirect back to the ground when you need your dog focused. It really all depends on how you use this scent or what you associate it to. Think about how many people have walked up and down the street you're on. Add in all the dogs, the prey, don't forget the food and the trash that people drop, and you can see that this really starts to add up for the dog. Your dog is taking in a massive sample of scents filled with butyric acid in the mix, and dogs are determining how they feel about this odor in their environment. It is very salient, and human scents will carry a history, so it will have preference to the dogs. As has been stated in this video and others, dogs generalize fear easily, so be mindful of this. Even though no people are present, the dog may be taking in the scent of someone that has been there before, just recently, or even some time ago. If you're using fear, pain, and startle to disengage dogs as a way of training, on leash or in other contexts, you are most likely going to cause a general fear of people. A negative association can be made to a person handling the dog on leash as well. Additionally, the dog handler has a distinct scent, and the dog is making associations to that as well. Many dogs that pull excessively and appear to be untrainable on leash may actually be attempting to get away from a harsh leash handler. There is a biological and social function to scent. Dogs use scents to detect prey for food, as well as many social functions important to dogs. These are all coordinated by olfaction and scent detection. Dogs are determining everything from the sex of the other dog to their general health by way of the scents. The research of Dunbar and Carmichael suggests pheromone identification in the context of urine that triggers a marking response. Another study by Shafik in 1994 suggests specific odors may cause a dog to eliminate in absence of a full bladder. The take-home here is allowing your dog to smell sufficiently and have respect about what the scent may mean to them. After all, you would not want someone ripping a phone out of your hand or taking a book from you while you were reading. That is pretty much what dogs are doing on walks as far as taking in scents. They are reading information and deciding how they feel about it. Dogs are gathering lots of information about other dogs and people when smelling the ground or smelling the air. It is all being cataloged and assessed as safe or unsafe. Make sure they are feeling good about it by using cues and prompts to disengage dogs away from scents. In 1964, von Beckersey discovered there is a small time delay between the odor entering one nostril and then the other, unless the source of the odor is directly in front of the snout of the dog. However, the dog can compensate for this by calculating the differential of the scent entering and then detect the origin of the scent and where it's coming from. Dogs are also able to take in different scents into each nostril. Seeing as few scents or trails are fresh to the dog when they are out on a walk, many times it's challenging for the dog to determine which way to go. They are simply calculating many things, including the location and the direction of the scent. As we've seen many times on the start of a dog walk, the dog appears confused or excited or is smelling back and forth all over the ground before they determine a path. Be sensitive to this and adjust in a relaxed manner. We've discussed this in previous videos and we will address it again in the future. When we go out for a walk with our dogs, essentially the dogs are tracking. No matter what the human's intended purpose is for the walk, the dog is concerned about taking in scents, determining what they are and where they come from and how they feel about them, and then following them as best as they can. They are doing this as a matter of course, as we would follow signs to a bathroom or to a location we needed to get to. Our signs in life are usually very clear. For dogs, not so much. There are 3 phases to the dog's tracking pattern. Number 1, the search phase, when the dog is moving and sniffing rapidly. It's been discovered that dogs can sniff up to 6 times per second. Number 2, the decision phase, is characterized by slower movements with longer sniffing periods with the nose placed closer to the ground for longer periods. Number 3, the tracking phase. This is similar to the searching phase with more rapid movements in both sniffing and body postures. These 3 phases of tracking are why many times when we set out to walk the dog, those first few minutes are the most challenging. The dog is still deciding what and where and how to smell all that is happening in the environment and how to best go towards the scent or series of scents that are most attractive, or perhaps steer clear of scents that are dictating fear or stress. Be sensitive to the search, detect, track sequences and work with the dog. In essence, be on the dog's team. There are many tempos to a dog walk. Stay flexible and adjust calmly and gently. Walk faster if needed, or slower if needed. Be less concerned about direction within reason and be more focused on the dog associating positively to the scents and relaxing by taking in scents and feeling as best as they can about the environment. I have often theorized that the 2 most salient aspects to the environment for dogs are humans and other dogs. Considering dogs can detect even faint scents of butyric acid in human sweat, and they can detect the scents of other dogs miles away, it's not a long shot but a safe bet that the dog will associate most often to humans and other dogs in the environment when given reinforcement. Do not let this factor slip your mind when training. Remember, just because we cannot see it or smell it does not mean the dog is not associating to the scent of it. This scent that dogs associate to has a feeling attached to it, and most likely that's going to be a feeling towards a canine or a human. Make sure you are creating a positive association for the dog when on leash and in general when in any environment. You can bet that dogs are aware of everything through their scent detection. So stay aware, stay prepared to train, don't make dogs scared with startle or pain. Use cues, prompts, and lures, and you have the cures to reduce stress and increase success when training on leash. Nothing in life is perfect, and leash walking will always present challenges that other contexts may not, for the reasons described in this video. If you would like more information on safe, effective dog training, check out Dedicated, Organized, Gentle. This 74-minute DVD is a great way to build a lifelong foundation of learning for you and your dog. This has been a Canine Sun Media presentation.